everyone, and welcome to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I am bringing you guys a book review of The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab. Okay, so just in case you're wondering where I've been, if you've been following me at all, basically I moved out to California for college. I was living with some other college freshmen because my college was online, and ultimately, I just didn't get a lot of reading for fun done, and so I kind of decided that I just didn't have enough content and I was going to focus on basically my academics instead. Moving forward, obviously I have another upcoming semester which is also online. I am going to try my best to prioritize pleasure reading a little bit more and then potentially film more videos, but I definitely can't guarantee a video schedule, and I'm not going to promise anything because I don't think that there's a point in putting out content regularly if it's not meaningful. Again, I'm going to do my best, but if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and then I'll see you guys over the summer, I guess. But if you guys are at all curious, it would be super fun to maybe film some college related videos. I do think that people in general tend to like those. I could do a college day in my life, or week in my life, or a study with me, or I don't know, just something fun like that. Just tossing out some ideas. If you guys are all interested, definitely let me know in the comments. But if not, I'll just stick to my book content, but I might just toss a couple of college related videos in there just for my own fun, because obviously that's why I made this channel. But yeah, without further ado, let's get on to the video. Oh, and I just wanted to mention, yeah, so I got a ring light, which is super exciting. So definitely the lighting is a lot more kind of dramatic. Let me know if you guys like it or not. I also have this is the warm setting. There's a cooler setting for the light, but I like this. It's definitely kind of blinding when I look into it. So to start off with non-spoilers, I'm just gonna give you guys a quick summary. Basically, if you don't know what it's about, it is about this girl named Addie Larue, and she's born in the late 1600s in this tiny town called Vion in France. I don't know how to pronounce it actually. I just made it up. But yeah, basically she's kind of destined for this small town life, but she yearns for more. She desperately wants her freedom and wants to kind of see more of the world, or at least she feels the world has more to offer her than just being a wife and a mother, which is kind of what she's destined to do. Then she kind of makes a deal with this kind of dark god type figure, and he basically kind of tricks her, and so now she has this really extended life, basically immortal in the sense that she can't be killed by kind of normal things, but she is not remembered by anyone. So when she's in direct view of someone, they will interact with her as if she's a normal person, but the minute that they leave, they will forget that they ever saw her or ever interacted with her, which means that she cannot build fulfilling relationship. And I do have to note on that what I didn't really think about until I saw some Goodreads reviews, because I know maybe I should just film my review kind of unbiased and just say what I feel, but I like to get a sense of how other people feel, because I do feel it makes my perspective a little bit more nuanced, because I see what other people are thinking, because I tend to read reviews that are kind of opposite to how I actually feel, to kind of gain a new perspective. I did read a bunch of 5-star reviews, and then I did read a bunch of 3 stars, and then I read a bunch of really low star reviews. I personally was thinking I would give this book 4 stars, but I haven't quite decided yet, so maybe I'll let you know at the end of the video. But what I did notice is there is kind of a discrepancy in which in one part of the book someone leaves to go to the bathroom, and then when they come back they don't remember her. But she has had multiple times where she's been able to spend an entire day with somebody, which is very confusing to me, because I doubt that it's possible for her to literally have spent the entire day in the visual where they can see her at all times. So that does kind of feel it wasn't thought out too well, or at least it wasn't like super consistent, and that did definitely confuse me too, because it's not really stated like how much time she has to not be in like their visual like perspective for them like to forget her. Obviously, like when they blink they don't forget her, but she survives off of stealing, and she'll steal something and then immediately like leave the store or like hide in the changing room, and they will forget about her. So it does seem like maybe, you know, it's not very like specific on how long like you have to like not see her for her to like not be remembered. But you know what, I think you just kind of have to suspend your belief a little bit for this one. So this was definitely like a very character driven book, but I did find it's a little bit difficult, because while I am definitely all for character driven books, it was definitely a lot of introspection and thought process and more like kind of deeper like realizations, like this kind of like overwhelming question that Addie has is like, is she like really a person if she cannot like really leave a mark on the world? And that was definitely like interesting, but it wasn't like as captivating as like other books that I've really enjoyed have been, you know what I mean? Like I finished this book and okay, the ending, I'm not gonna lie, didn't perfectly satisfy me, but I'll get to that in the spoiler section. But I was really like thrilled with this book when I finished it, and I was like, yes, this was a good book. But the more that I think about it, the more like small issues that I have with it. For one, it does have great LGBTQ plus representation, but the three main characters are white, and it is a little bit odd to me because she very, like, especially early in the book, she mentions that she's traveled to a lot of places, and I thought that was like really, really interesting. Like, obviously the book starts out in France, and I was excited to kind of like travel the world with her. However, we literally, like in this book, never travel to any continent outside of Europe except like kind of the present where she's in America. In this entire book, she's literally either in America or Europe, which is just interesting to me because she specifically mentions visiting like non-European, non-America countries. Like I think she specifically talks about, I want to say like Morocco, but I don't want to get it wrong. But I know that she's like been to other countries. It's just odd that we never see them in the book. And it's true that a lot of the other countries she's visited don't play major roles. A lot of our book takes place in either in America or in France, which makes sense. But it's just a little odd, you know, like we never go to like China with her or India with her, or anywhere in Africa, anywhere in South America, literally anywhere in Asia. So it does just seem a little odd that the book was like so kind of Eurocentric, even if she hasn't ever been to China, because she like never mentions it specifically in the book. That just seems kind of odd to me. Like, I don't know, I feel like if you were the type of person to like not be remembered and your dream is like traveling and you love to travel, wouldn't you literally travel to every country in the world that you could? I don't know. But maybe that's just me. But it did just slightly bother me. I just felt like it was a little bit unnecessarily Eurocentric, but maybe I'm just being nitpicky. I don't know. It's hard because, like I said, this is like a really character-driven book, but there's only really like three main characters, and we really only get to see inside the heads of two of them. So there's not like a ton of diversity in terms of like racial representation in the book. Considering the main cast is like a cast of three and that they're all white, like I guess that's okay, but I don't know, you know, could have been fun to throw a little bit more like racial diversity in there. But I'm glad there was the LGBTQ plus representation. I think both of our main characters were like, they never really like defined themselves, but they definitely like had relationships with both like men and women, so that was cool. But yeah, just a note. I felt like this book was really, I don't know how to put this, but it was like easy to kind of put down. I felt like I kept getting distracted by like more like passive forms of media. And for me, like I consider like TV and movies and like TikTok more like passive forms of media, because like I find it personally really easy to like consume them passively. Like I just sit there and I like scroll on TikTok, or I like watch my TV show or whatever, and I'm just sitting there. And whereas like with a book, for me to like really enjoy it, I have to immerse myself in the world. And to immerse myself in the world, I kind of have to like focus a little bit more. So I find it like I do have to like concentrate a little bit more and kind of like work more, rather than just like playing TV and like not necessarily even really having to pay attention to it. So I did get distracted by like other forms of media, and it took me a really long time to read this book. But I'm not sure if that's like, if it speaks for the book and that like I was bored of the book, or if it's just more that I was just like super distracted kind of vibe. But I do have to say, it isn't like a fast-paced book. It isn't really like action-packed. It's definitely more of like a slow climb, and yeah. But okay, I just feel like I've really been like rambling on a lot. So I'm just gonna wrap up the non-spoilery section by kind of saying like I enjoyed this book, and if the premise sounds interesting to you, I would definitely recommend it. The prose is also really beautiful in my opinion, though I did hear some people call it purple prose, and I could potentially agree with it, but I personally just like enjoyed it anyway. I just feel like, I don't know, like I would recommend this book definitely to people, but not if you're looking for like something super action-packed, and not like if you're looking for a thriller, and I definitely don't think it's for anyone, like for everyone. So like I would also be like hesitant, because I could definitely like see someone picking this up and just like really not being that interested in it. So like check it out. I think that the book kind of stays pretty much the same throughout. So like if you can't get through like the first 150 pages because you're just way too bored, I don't think that you're going to enjoy it more by like the end. I personally did get more invested towards the end, but didn't find the ending was like enough of a payoff, so I don't really know. Anyways, let's jump into spoilers. Okay, so in terms of spoilers, I kind of don't know where to begin. So, okay, a big thing is that basically, like, I was on Goodreads, and I was, like, obviously, like, reading reviews, and I just really wanted to, like, soak in a new perspective. So, I did see a lot of people were kind of marketed this book as, like, a girl who, like, falls in love with kind of, like, the darkness that, like, cursed her, and I wasn't personally, that's not what I thought the book was about. I heard the premise was like this girl, like one boy remembers her, and that's what I went into it thinking, and I felt like that delivered for me. But it's definitely, if you expected a romance between kind of Luke and Addie, like if you, that was like your main like going into the book, then I definitely feel like you'd be disappointed. And okay, I just like have so many mixed feelings, because on the one hand, I got so sucked into the book when I suddenly saw that Luke and Addie were going to be like in a relationship, and like when it kind of got closer to that point, I got really excited for some reason. I just thought it was like a really intriguing relationship, like definitely kind of like a weird like villain hero relationship. But then I've just like read so many posts, and like I did see like one review that was kind of like, oh, I loved how the darkness was presented as like someone really charismatic and likable, even though they were the kind of like abuser. And I have to say, I understand that point as well. So I can see how the darkness is really like an abuser, because obviously he's keeping her trapped to these terms, even though by kind of the end of the book, supposedly he really loves her or whatever. He's still keeping her trapped, so he clearly doesn't like love her selflessly. So it is interesting that perhaps like I should have looked at it from like the perspective of more like, oh, he's like an abuser, and so at the ending was like kind of more of like, oh, she's like rightfully kind of taking charge and she's gonna be able to break free. But I guess like since I was personally more excited once they were kind of getting into a relationship, I was more disappointed in the ending. And I'm not gonna lie, I think a big reason that like, or like the main part of this book that I honestly like didn't really care about was just like the whole character of Henry. Like, I did not care about Henry. I really appreciated kind of the mental health representation. I thought that was good and interesting. I just didn't care about Henry. I just found him personally just kind of annoying. So their whole relationship from the start was just like doomed for me to like really be interested in it. It also did feel kind of like forced and insta-lovey. It's like, I feel like a big reason we love kind of romance is like they choose each other. Whereas for these two people, it very much felt like, oh, you know, like you're the only person that remembers me and you're the only person that's not kind of like blinded by this like glow in their eyes. And so now we're the only two people that like really could be in like a legitimate relationship with each other. Does that make sense? Like, obviously Henry could be in a relationship with anybody he wants, but it wouldn't be like really real affection or love from the other person. And then Addie obviously can't. So for both of them, I feel like it was kind of a relationship out of necessity, which took a lot of like the romance and like wonder and love out of it, because it was just so like, oh, you know, like they're with each other because they have to be. And even though that there is that very specific situation that they're in, I feel like the author could have done a better job of like actually building up the romance, because it did feel like they met, he remembered her, they went out for like one date, and then they basically like moved in together. I think they went on 2 dates and then they moved in together, and then we don't really get any of this like exposition of like their relationship building or them coming to care for each other. It was so much about Addie being excited that someone remembers her. That just like frustrated me. It's not really like a legitimate relationship either. And so then even when she was like kind of like sacrificing herself for Henry, I was like glad, because like I didn't really want Henry to die, but like I also don't know what the point of that was. Like, is she, when Luke is like done with her, is she gonna be free from her bargain but like still be immortal? Is like Henry still gonna be alive and she's gonna be able to go back to him? Like, I'm not really sure what the deal is. And I honestly was just like more invested in the like relationship of Luke and Addie than I was in Addie and Henry. But I can't understand why. Maybe it was kind of like, I mean, it was definitely like a problematic relationship, but I was just more invested in it. So I don't know, my just thoughts are like so mixed, because like I enjoyed it and I felt like the writing was beautiful and I liked kind of like visiting everywhere in the world. But another thing that I did see online is that apparently there's like a lot of historical discrepancies, and that kind of bummed me out, because I feel like a big part of me wanting to like read historical fiction is that it's like real and you can almost like kind of learn something about history as you read it. Or even if you already know this like about history, you get like a better visual timeline of like what's going on in history. And just the fact that there were just like some major historical discrepancies in this book really bothered me, because like, what's the point if this is not founded on like real historical fact? You know what I mean? Because this definitely wasn't intended to be like an alternate like Earth, you know what I mean? So I don't know, that just kind of bummed me out and it's really disappointing for me. So like, I guess like the further away I get from the book, the more I just feel like, wow, like it just kind of is like not that great. But like my overall enjoyment of the book was still high. But once I kind of thought about it and was like, a little bit of Eurocentrism, a little bit of like historical discrepancies, a little bit of like, ew, I don't like Henry and Addie's relationship at all, definitely makes like the overall experience like, or, you know, so. Yeah, I don't know if that was a very good review. It's obviously been a long time since I've made a video, and I definitely probably should have like written something down before I filmed this video, but you know what, I decided to do it on the fly, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what I should read next, if you have any recommendations, what kind of videos you guys are looking for next. I will maybe do more reviews or just something depending on what I read and get done. And then yeah, just thanks for watching. Bye.